Alrighty. Hooty hoo, everybody. We're back. Special episode. We've got Devin Saxon tonight. After I completely butchered his name on Wednesday because Wednesday was a bad day. I'm like, David something shit. So how have you been, sir?
I've been great. How you doing? I'm glad to be on. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Tomorrow's the big day. I wanted to. If I would have known you were in the race earlier, I would have had you on earlier. But when did you jump in? Because I jumped out like 3 weeks ago.
I jumped in. I would say I watched that 9-hour LNC meeting to decide how the convention was going to go down. And then I was like, yeah, they need me on that committee. Basically, I was like, I need to get involved to a deeper degree than I already am. I'm already the communications director of South Dakota, so I guess my background would be social media. So I'm going to bring that element to the LNC if I get elected to the alternate position.
Mm-hmm. And what is that? So first, let's for anyone who's watching who doesn't know, that's Minnesota, right? Is it Minnesota? I always forget. Yeah. Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, Illinois. I feel like I'm missing one.
Wisconsin?
Is it Wisconsin? Yes, it is Wisconsin. It's Michigan is the one that isn't in our region. That's
right.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Missouri is too, right?
Yeah,
he's in Missouri.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. Yeah.
Missouri is kind of the weird one in my opinion because to me all the other states are like northern states, and in my mind, Missouri is a southern state. And I realized that Illinois is just as southern, but in my mind, it doesn't work that way. And maybe it's because Missouri was actually, I don't want to say a slave state, but like in my mind, it still works that way. I don't know. I'm sorry, Missouri.
Southern state.
Yeah.
So tomorrow's the big day. Actually, I need to share this into that group. You should, Scott, talk for a minute.
Well, yeah. Okay. I was trying to share too, but I got confused. So speaking of, the internet confuses me sometimes, Devin. But I understand you're a communications director. So what does that entail in South Dakota? What do you do for
basically,
the LP in South Dakota?
What I do is I can act as the spokesperson for the party. I post on all their social media pages. I can write press releases, and that's basically about it. And what I did is like right away when I got my job, because found out that there was only one committee in all of South Dakota, just the executive committee, and they were the ones doing everything. And that was basically like 5 or 7 people. So it's like, yeah, we need to specialize. We need specialized subcommittees to work on specific tasks. So I pushed for the formation of 3 committees. One was the communications committee, which I chair. And that is the committee where I brought in everybody who I know is talented at social media and digital arts and graphic designers, all kinds of stuff. And we brainstorm, we throw ideas at each other, and we've managed to push South Dakota's following on Facebook to about 6,500, and we started out at 2,400. So we're doing tremendous at that.
Yeah, it's almost triple, dude.
Yeah, and then we formed 2 more committees. We formed a bylaw committee, and with that, we created 3 regional coordinators because we didn't even have regional coordinators. People are trying to like figure out how they can get involved, and they didn't really know. And executive committee people were too busy doing their tasks to really. I don't know. I didn't feel like it was adequate enough. So we got 3 regional coordinators, and now we have somebody actually working with the county affiliates, actually helping recruit candidates. And we've got a record for most candidates that have ever been running for Libertarian South Dakota this year, which is awesome. And then we also formed a fundraising committee so that we could brainstorm ideas on how to bring more money into the party. And basically, our big idea was to just sell t-shirts, and we come up with some South Dakota designs, and we've got a record budget right now for our party. So basically, I feel like that's what the alternate position does, since they don't have a vote on the LNC, but they do participate in the subcommittees. And I feel like with my experience with the state party, I would be perfect to just get my hands dirty and get to go on business, to participating in the subcommittees on the national level, and hopefully creating a new committee that is similar to the communications committee in South Dakota, where we focus on digital media outreach and try to boost the engagement rate of the national page.
So that's just actually like it's funny because you stepping into the race was at the perfect time, because I had to drop, but your platform is basically the same as mine, so I'm really happy to see you in.
Thank you. Yeah. Communication directors. Yeah.
I can tell you, if based on some of the people I've talked to, as long as there's not a complete turnover on the LNC, there's at least some people on there who will be open to that idea, because we've talked. Like, I was trying to form kind of a coalition before I even ran.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna start messaging those people for you now.
Awesome, I appreciate it.
So, what is, because you're gonna have to do a lot of other things other than the social media. Mm-hmm. What would you say has been the biggest learning experience since you became communications director?
Well, I would say the biggest learning experience I have was the factionalism within the party, both on a national level and on my local level, where, like, when I first joined the party, I figured all libertarians were, tight knit and everybody was on the same page. But I guess I've come to learn that that's not the case, and you need to have very good like negotiating skills and compromise with people that you don't agree with 100%, and being a mediator between opposing parties who are nitpicking over some fine detail about the libertarian platform, especially when it comes to posting on social media, because you're speaking for, like, for instance, when I post as South Dakota Libertarian Party South Dakota Facebook page, I'm basically speaking for the whole party. So, like, I've come to find that, not everybody's going to agree with what you post, but essentially I just follow the Libertarian Party platform as it's posted on the national website to a T, and we've done good. And people thought that we wouldn't, because in South Dakota, we're like a deep red state. So there was some butting heads regarding posting things regarding anything to do with immigration, or even just posting like Black Lives Matter things sometimes. Like there wasn't like as much headbutting on that stuff, but you'll see the comments on the page from people who expect us to have like a conservative tone, being that we're from South Dakota. But I'm not that type of person to, compromise the party platform to satisfy basically what I like to call them are like Republicans that like to smoke weed. Mm-hmm. So
I will say, yeah, your page is one of the most fun for me to troll, because there's the stuff you post is always going to bring out at least one person that I just want to tear into.
Oh yeah, see, the thing in South Dakota is none of the other political parties hardly post anything. So if people want to see like political content, they come to the Libertarian page, which is awesome, I think. And I don't mind that they're not really competing with us on a social media stage. They're
Do you think they can? Like we make the joke about like a lot of the older generation are going to be Republicans, so this is kind of going to go. They're not going to be as, not, how do I say this? Not everyone is as tech savvy as they get older. As Scott, mm-hmm. We're old men now. right, Scott?
Yes. Yes.
So
Yeah,
like,
I don't think they can compete with us, honestly. We're the fastest growing, one of the fastest growing pages in the whole state. And I think by the end of my term, we'll have more of a following than Democratic Party. That's my goal. We have half their following right now.
Nice.
So the Republicans, they're pretty loaded with money and they can hire people that are pretty talented on their end. And it's been tough to catch up with them. They've also doubled their page this year. So, I mean, I see them as like my arch nemesis, I guess.
what's that
But
like?
I'm confident that I can take them down.
Like when we created our page, I immediately set Think Liberty as one of our pages to follow because I always want to measure myself against the best in the business,
Mhm.
which maybe should have been being libertarian, but that's kind of the same thing at this point. I think they merged. So does it ever get discouraging to be like, man, we had a really good week, and then you go match up and you're like, shit, but they still somehow beat us?
As far as the Republican page in South Dakota, or just any libertarian page,
Republican page in this case.
it does get discouraging, but it happens so like they'll post a couple like memes or something that the national Republican page will share for them, and then it just blows up. So they're basically sucking in a bunch of likes and follows from the national party, the National Republican Party. That's another thing that I wish our national party would do to help us state affiliates out is to, like, I don't know, go through, find the best post of like 10 states every week and just retweet it or share it on Facebook.
They used to.
And I just don't, I know one post from South Dakota was shared the entire year I've been the communications director, was a post where we got a libertarian elected on this Rapid City Council, and that was like my first week on the job. But since then, it hasn't been anything like at all from South Dakota, anyways. I know they probably shared stuff from other states, but I just wish it was more frequent.
So do you, with that kind of frustration, do you pay that forward as well to like share county?
Oh yeah.
And stuff?
Oh yeah. That's basically the purpose of building the following is so during election season you can share the candidates' posts, and then they're getting seen by more people. For instance, we have a state senator by the name of Adam Jewell running in South Dakota, and he comes up with like the best memes for his district, and we just share him on our page, and they just instant hits. And he's even getting articles written about him by the Democratic bloggers in our state about how he's changing the way people are campaigning in his district, and I just think that's awesome.
Sorry, Eric wants to see us fight.
Who's fighting? What are we fighting about?
Because
of the
Devin's last name is Saxon, and everyone knows how much I talk about being a Celt. So.
Yeah.
Eric's dorky enough to understand history from 1,200 years ago and why that would be amusing, but
right.
I don't think most of our viewers are.
I'll represent South Dakota. You can represent Nebraska.
I'll pass. Scott, do you want to know?
No, I'm good. So, Devin, with the alternate position, is your intent to attend all the meetings, the in-person meetings?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I understand.
You have an airport in South Dakota?
3 or 4. We do. We got an airport in Sioux Falls.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'll definitely be at all the meetings. That's the one reason I want to go is to, it's not about voting so much for me, because I'm still young and I'm still learning. So this would be a good opportunity for me to learn things, all the nooks and crannies and everything about the party at a national level, and to apply what I've done with the Libertarian Party of South Dakota as much as I can, and try to just make the party better.
So before a libertarian, Where were you? Where'd you come from?
I was a pretty avid crypto enthusiast. For at least, I still say I am now, but you know, since 2018, it's been kind of rough. But I got involved with crypto about 2014, and I helped with digital media and with community management for several crypto coins, and that like crypto, I think, is like the ultimate libertarian instrument because what it's doing is it's taking the we're always complaining about the Federal Reserve System and how they're always printing money, but with crypto, like it's fair and it's open source for everybody. So I think if we could switch from the US dollar to Bitcoin, essentially, that we would greatly improve our economy and we wouldn't have as much corruption as we're seeing. But basically, those principles and those ideas brought me to, I would say, libertarianism. My first convention I went to was the 2018 Libertarian Convention because I was invited to moderate the governor debate, and we had two great candidates. And afterwards, I've never left. I've just been getting more and more involved ever since.
Okay.
So, do you see this as I don't want to say a stepping stone, but the next step in your journey? Is this where you just want to plateau out at, or do you have aspirations to
well, I'm a firm believer in if I don't like what I see being done, that you need to step up and get involved yourself. So that's basically what I'm going to do. So I'm going to try my best to make anything I'm a part of as best as it can be. If that's just the Libertarian Party of South Dakota or if it's on a national level, that'd be amazing too. But I don't see, I mean, I'm always going to be ambitious and I'm always going to try for, like, I don't see myself leaving the executive committee of the Libertarian Party of South Dakota willingly ever. Like, I'm probably going to have to get voted out because I just love this job so much, and I feel like I'm delivering results that we really, really need if we're going to have a chance to get libertarians elected in our state.
So, so let's say you win. What does the party look like in 2 years if you have your way with it?
We'd have a new committee on a national level that would focus on digital media and social media outreach. And that committee would have all of the all-stars from all the other state affiliates. And we'd boost our page up to, I'm going to say times 2.5, like what we did in South Dakota. So that would be 1.7 million followers on Facebook. And I think it's possible. Like, there's no reason why it wouldn't be, because like, the left can't meme. The right's not even focusing on social media, except Trump's tweets, I guess. But this is where libertarians, this is where we kick ass and take names on the social media front. And I feel like if we utilized it, we could see dramatic results and dramatic increase in our membership and everything that goes along with it.
Sorry, I was just looking. So the Libertarian Party is 735,000.
Mm-hmm.
Being libertarian is 928,000. With all the advantages that being the political party has, why is being libertarian kicking their ass so badly?
Well, being libertarian puts out quality content. Like, you always see their posts being shared. Like, they're always on top of the ball, you know, like, you can't waste time because because the political climate or the like things changing are so much. Like the news cycle with Corona and everything in 2020 is just like all this news. So like they're good at being on point, like right away, not waiting and not playing it safe, I would say. Like some people like to play it safe so they don't offend people, but you know, it's if people are going to be offended by the Libertarian Party platform, the kid,
I think our principles are pretty offensive to
yeah, they're offensive to a lot of people, but there's ways to make a bridge so that they can understand where we're coming from, and then over time, possibly jump board our ship, because what I find is people don't understand in depth. They just see like, oh, you want everybody to have machine guns. It's like they don't understand like the ramifications of people being armed to the extent that our government is armed, and how that would help create a smaller government and a less need for like a huge military budget, things like that. That's just one example, but there's like all our controversial points, you know, can be explained in a better way, I think. And they can be explained in like short, well, sometimes I guess short. If you get a good meme, like I see memes as like a form of art basically, and you're basically delivering a message that sometimes just regular text isn't enough. Sometimes you need that image in the background. And I think being libertarian and some of those other libertarian pages are really good at delivering that kind of content. So that's probably why they're kicking the National Party's ass right now, I would say.
So, I mean, what's the old saying? A picture's worth 1,000 words?
Yeah, basically I was trying to say that in too many words. That's what I think memes deliver. Like sometimes people frown on memes, and I'm not saying like every post should be a meme. I'm just saying that being libertarian in particular, their meme game is just it's fire. It's good. Like, and I would say that like people from being libertarian to be on the National Digital Media Committee to help the national page.
I do know a couple of them have been from time, like they've been on the group of people who schedule posts and whatnot. And every time it happens, we start a countdown, and within a month they'll be off because they can't deal with
the inter-party politics.
It's not
inter-party politics.
So in this case, it's not even the inter-party politics. It's working with people in that space who don't understand the space. And I ultimately think that is like, that's where a lot of the disconnect comes from, is you have people who don't understand the internet as a culture because it is different. And if you didn't grow up in it, you're not going to understand it the same way. And having those people in charge of our face to that culture is damaging.
Yeah.
But to go back to the party politics, this national convention outside of the presidential race has been pretty. There's two factions. You've got the Mises on one side and I guess the Prags on the other. And there's people that don't fall into either camp. I'm one of them.
Same here.
Yeah, but those are the factions that are going to be polling. How do you deal with that? How are you going to deal with that?
Well, like I said, I don't belong to either of the factions, and I can see how each faction has their points at certain times, and I would be a mediator between the two because I'm not going to join either of them. I'm sick of the inter-party politics. That's one of the things that's a downer to everybody trying to make the party better. And I get things need to be hashed out, and I'm not a big fan of how things are being hashed out currently. But I guess that's a big subject to tackle. Like, I'm not gonna say that I'm just gonna come in here and end party enter the factionalism, because that's not gonna happen. But I'm gonna work my best to not participate in a way that is damaging to the party. You know, like, I'm gonna be a mediator between people. Like, I like it when they come together and they come up with plans to compromise. Like, for instance, when they compromised on the hybrid, where like they had people that were only for in person, and then we had people that were only online, and they came and made a compromise for a hybrid. And that's more stuff that I think that we need to do. And I think that should have been something that could have been resolved without a war. Like, that just seems like an obvious compromise to me anyways. And I feel like maybe there's possibly other situations where there's an obvious compromise, but people are just too entrenched. And we need to get people on the LNC who are going to refuse to be entrenched, who are going to be open, and who are going to make compromise, essentially.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that was I had to check myself on that a few times, because I would start getting like to me, I wanted to go to the convention, and some of the people who were saying that they wanted the virtual convention, I was upset, because a lot of them in my mind were the same people who have said forever that they don't want an online participation option, but now there's an emergency, so we have to have it. So I had to keep my focus on, well, okay, I actually have wanted virtual conventioning ability forever, so don't get mad just because you don't like the messenger this time. So, it's tough, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to stay out of the battles, but you know, people attack my friends, and it pulls me in, and I don't do a good enough job of staying out. So how do you, like, because I really don't see you way into that kind of nonsense like I do. So how do you pull that off?
Well, I'm pretty busy. Like, I'm on a mission to take down the Democratic Party's Facebook page. So I'm basically grinding away on South Dakota's social media stuff, and I don't really have the time, I would say, to get involved with it. But we did have the same issue in South Dakota, where there's a faction of people who wanted to do it all online, and there's a faction of people who wanted to do it all in person. And I was the person who was like, why don't we just do a hybrid then, so everybody's happy? Like, nobody's going to get exactly what they want, which is a good compromise. And that's what we did. And it went off great. And we had like 3 candidates. Like, it was going so good that we had 3 candidates just throw their hats in to run for office at the last second, because they were like, yeah, I like this. I like what I'm seeing. And that's what we can do on a national level if we work together and stop making each other the enemy. Because we've got a kick-ass candidate right now. Everybody's talking about Jo Jorgensen. Like, we should just be grinding at getting her. Like, I see a real chance that we'll beat Ross Perot's numbers. Like, there's a lot of talk about Jo Jorgensen going around on social media. I don't know if it's just my friends that I'm following or whatever, but you see it on Republican pages too, and Democratic pages. If they pull her next to them, she's beating them. So I think if we can get a hold of our social media stuff before this presidential election, and if I'm not sure of the politics on why the Facebook page on the national level is the way it is, if it is because there's a generation that doesn't understand internet culture as well as a millennial would, then we need to just take a chance on millennials and just let us, like, you can trust us. We will kick ass. We won't let the party down. And we're going to push the message out to like way more people than what you're seeing. Like, there's states with 30,000 followers that have constant engagement rates all year that have been higher than the national party. And that's just unacceptable to me. There's just no excuse for that at all. Because we're talking about the national page of 700,000. So if a page with 30,000 and less are beating it in an engagement rate, they're not posting engaging posts. So like that needs to change if we're ever gonna win. It needs to change. Like that's not something that we can just keep ignoring.
No, you're right. You're right, and it's a prime opportunity, you know. And I think this election cycle is such a unique opportunity for us as a party who have been 100% reliant on social media for our success, for the most part, to be able to be the forefront, the leaders in this, and say, look, let's show the other parties how to fucking internet. You know what I mean? Let's show them how to play on the internet, and because they're going to have to come to us because they can't go knock on doors right now. They can't go do the things that they're normally doing. So it's a prime opportunity for us to step up, but we have to get the right people in the right places to make that happen. So great.
Dude, exactly. I just pulled up their engagement like a comparison. That's pathetic.
Yeah, it's embarrassing low. I don't even like reading it. It makes me sad. It makes me depressed, and I want it to change. And then that's why I'm throwing my hat in as regional alternate, because every day I'll go to that committee and I'll bring it up until it gets changed. If it takes 2 years, like I don't even care.
Okay. Well, I can tell you, speaking purely for myself and no one else in our organization, I support you, and I wish I could vote for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
How about we're not going to do like a full hour here because I don't think we have enough material for that, but
that's fine.
Go ahead and give us your elevator pitch and we'll get out of here.
All right. Well, basically, I'm Devin Saxon, Communication Director of South Dakota. I'm also running for Public Utilities Commissioner in my state. My strengths are in social media marketing, and I'm rocking out supportive committee work. And that's about my goal for being a regional alternate is to push for a committee that handles digital media outreach, that would manage the social media pages, that would be made up of volunteers from all-star players from all the state affiliates, and that we would just drive home and deliver libertarian content nonstop until our page is approaching 2 million followers. That's basically my goal.
All right, that sounds awesome. That's what I want to see. So there you go, everyone. That is Devin Saxon.
Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on, and good luck tomorrow, man.
Oh yeah, man. See you.
See y'all later.